Hello, good evening. Welcome to another fortnightly Wednesday night video. It's just me this evening. Well, not just me at the moment. Leslie's not coming on tonight, but she does send her best. So like I say, just me, but I do have a special guest on tonight. Tom from Tom's Allotment Garden is going to be coming on. We're going to have a bit of a chat. I've been speaking to Tom over the past few weeks, but I've been speaking online for a little while now. Always follows my stuff, always follow his stuff as well. And like I say, for 21-year-old, the stuff that he's been done is absolutely phenomenal. So I'm going to pick his brain tonight, and we're just going to have a general chat. There's a few things I want to be bringing up as well this evening for few of the guys have actually got on. If I do miss anybody's comments this evening, I am sorry. I've got about 20 different things ongoing at the minute here. I've got my phone up here. I've got my laptop down here. I've tried something a little bit different this evening. The main reason being, I've got my laptop in front of me because obviously I've still got a crack going across my screen and it's starting to give us a bit of a headache. I need to get it fixed, to be honest. So what I've done is, me being clever, I've used my phone as the camera and I've got my laptop down here. So if you ever see me looking down here, that's the reason as to why, because I'm checking out all of your comments. So who do I have in the room so far this evening? I know Rob from Leicester's in, so good evening, Rob. Mel, hello, Mel. We've got Leslie's in as well, so even though she's not on this camera and she's on screen, she's still here in the chat cell as well. Hello, Tony from Little Farmer's Farm. Hello there. I've been following. I've been doing a bit of a catch up with all your videos, to be honest, recently. Yours and Little Elves. I'm loving that windmill that you've managed to put up. It looks like it's going to do a really good job for your batteries and stuff like that as well. So hi, Eamon. Hello, Dean. David Shaw. Terry. Hello, Andrew. Hello, everybody else that is joining. I'm not too sure how many people we've got, but as you are coming in, if you can a thumbs up, that would be absolutely fantastic. And I'm sure Leslie, oh no, I can actually see how many people's on here. It's 25 so far, so thanks all 25 people for coming in. How was everybody this evening? I'm sure I have, Tony. I'm sure I have put a comment on. If I haven't, I'll go back and do that. That's not a problem. Like I say, I was quite interested with like they say, the windmill and stuff. And if you haven't seen it, head over to Tony's Little Farmer's Farm. You got him and his little elf. Head over there, YouTube's, and have a look. So who else have I got here? Hello, Neil. And good evening, everybody else as well. I've actually day off today. I've got day off tomorrow as well. I've done a fair bit in the shed today, including a lot of tidying up, a lot of cleaning off. I've potted up 130 leeks today. So that's been my therapeutic start of the week. No, it is. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Did. Just sitting in there. I'll be telling the truth, sat and listening to a bit of Whitney Houston. And I rang my mother as well, because my mum loves a bit of Whitney Houston as well. And I just I made her giggle today. I've been on a right wind-up mood today. I've had me mum, I've had my grandma wound up. Rang them all today. It's been great. Fantastic. That's putting up 230 volt. Hey, that's fantastic. That I've on the subject, which I'm going to get in the subject with Tom as well at the later on. I've been having a look and following Andy Dawson, who I know is regular on the channel as well. He's got himself a little setup, which we'll discuss later on as well. So there we go. So I've got the leeks that I've got very quickly before I get Tom on here. The Paul Rochester's leeks, and they are Yorkshire Giants. Now I'll only be growing probably about a dozen of them, to be honest. So I've got a fair few to pick from. Paul was kind enough to give me a full head of leeks. I showed him my Yorkshire Giants at the time. They came too early, so Paul, being the bloke he is, just said, if you want to come down, pick a head up, come pick one up, which I mean is absolutely fantastic. I love going down and seeing them. Facebook today actually got a memory from the first time that me and little Elizabeth went down, and she thoroughly enjoyed it, and we made it annual visit of it. Until last year, when she didn't come down with us, and I spent, how long was I there, Leslie? I was there all day. I was there about 7 hours, which sitting chatting away, and I could spend all day there, to be honest. I did, pretty much. It was fantastic. So without further ado, let's say we've got 30 people on. Good evening, everybody. I'm going to introduce Tom. So I've got to put my little tabs across the bottom. So I'm going to get Tom on now. I'm just waiting for him to give us a nod, telling us that he's ready. Let's have a look. Want to catch anybody off guard, so I'll just send him a message there, seeing if he's ready. Dun, dun, dun. Yep, ready to go. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our guest this evening. So I'm going to pop him on now. So further ado. Hello, Tom.
Hello. All right.
I'm getting corrected by the wife as usual. So yes, hello, Tom. Everybody, this is Tom. Say hello to Tom. Not that you can rehear them like Tom, but you know.
No.
Yes, lots of comments on there, but yeah, good evening.
Good evening. Good
How
evening.
are you doing?
Even though you just sat behind Dean.
Just sat over there, actually. Just sat on that side. So anything you say, she can hear.
Oh, Andy Dawson is on.
Yep, I've just been chatting about Andy there. We'll get into that a little bit more later on as well, because obviously we've got a few things to go through. Because me and you, because I mean, like I say, when I ask anybody if they want to come on and they say they want to come on, that's fantastic. It's not just a case of getting Tom on this evening and that's it, ready to go. We've been having a lot of conversations and stuff, and as we've discussed yesterday, sorry, it's my laptop. As we discussed yesterday, once you start talking about something you're passionate about, that's it. It's the rest of the evening. I took myself to hang up the phone yesterday.
That'll be one of the main reasons you was that Paul Rochester's for so long, Dean, because that's just how it happens.
That's it. I mean, I was there. I went up for specifically one thing. His daughter was there at the time. Obviously, this was pre-COVID.
Yeah.
So we went up. I went up there, and we're having a chat. Having his granddaughter. I was telling him all about what was going on and telling him some stories and stuff as kids do. And like I say, I was just picking Paul's brain, and he's an absolute fantastic bloke to speak to. Leslie found out as well when we went down to Malvern the reason as to why I would spend all day there, and then I did, just because he's got such a soothing voice as well. He's got like a radio voice, she says, like a voice for radio. So I think you can actually spend all day listening to him, which I do. I'm one of these people that hide anything away from me.
Yeah, I'll just say a rounded hello to everybody, because there's a lot of people said hello to me. But in relation to Dave Shaw's question, what do I grow? I grow all exhibition veg, not so much giant, and a lot of dahlias. Potatoes are probably one of my main grows. But going back to what Dean was saying about Paul Rochester, you'll find that a lot of show growers are willing to help, especially younger people like me, because they're wanting you to get into it, and the more help they can give you, the more inclined you'll be to do it. And without young people like me, and there's a lad who I've just got friends with on Facebook called Kieran getting into it, it'd be a dying hobby.
That's it. So, yeah. I mean, like I say, the amount of people that I would not so much blow my own trumpet, but the amount of messages that I get stating that from people saying that inspired them to take on Allotment, things like that. People that's older than me as well. So it's not even just the younger guys, but exactly like you say, the best thing you can do is just teach those that want to learn and teach those that don't teach. Like I said to yourself yesterday evening, and I'm sorry if I do revert back to what we was discussing yesterday evening. Obviously, a lot of people, obviously nobody else is going to know, apart from me, you and Leslie. But there's a young lad from when I was selling tomatoes earlier on in the year. There was a young lad a few miles away from where I live. He's only 13. He wanted some tomatoes and stuff, and I gave him some tomatoes, and I was constantly asking questions. Once you get yourself an allotment, you kind of get allotment at the minute because there's none available. Obviously, there's a waiting list. But it's just lovely to see the eagerness from some people as well. And I think a lot of people as well, they should be teaching these in school. They should be teaching in school. Because these days in school, you get taught how to do certain things, but life is not one of them, pretty much.
I think it should be, a lot of people say that horticulture should be a mandatory GCSE, but I don't think it should necessarily be horticulture. It should be labelled as something like outdoor skills. There's a lot of children, especially in London, that have not actually ever seen a cow or a sheep or a chicken in real life. And,
they don't know where the food comes from, basically, as well.
That's the thing. Yeah.
And I had that kind of similar experience when because the chickens that we have, as long as they don't obviously don't just die.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't touch them if they don't, because we don't know what they've died of. But say if I've had a couple of cockerels which were fed up and obviously fattened up and things like that. They were like turkeys basically compared to the stuff that you get in the shop.
Yeah. It's
So
like veg,
learning
isn't it?
Yeah,
it's the thing. We've had pigs before, and the meat is so much different to what you buy in the supermarket. It doesn't actually taste like pork, and I know that sounds ridiculous, but the flavour and the taste of the meat is completely different to what you buy in the supermarket, and it's same with the veg.
It's the same with chicken as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree. It was unbelievable the first time. I mean, we killed. I killed a cockerel. First time I did it with my granddad. I'd already done it with my dad as well. But them things as well is something I'll remember for the rest of my life. Spending that time with the father and with the grandfather and stuff, learning them skills from them. But it was quite amusing as the cockerel that obviously I plucked it and obviously got to put a boil of water to easier to get the feathers off and stuff. Something else I learned with that. There's a couple of funny stories with what my dad did to us, which in fact I'll tell you very quickly. It was like a dusky evening on the allotment, strung the chicken up. Obviously, it already had its feathers removed. My dad was teaching us how to obviously take everything out of it cleanly, and he did it on purpose. He told us, he took the chicken down. He went, take your hand up there by the neck and just pull everything out. Get everything out. He knew that was air in them lungs, and he knew what was going to happen next. So it was a dusky evening. Sun was going down. It was getting dark. Put my hand up this chicken. Stop. Pulled, squeezed gently, and all I heard was as I was squeezing its lungs. The air was coming up. I jumped up. I thought it was still alive. I had my hand on the inside of it. Couldn't believe it. My dad was absolutely killing himself laughing because he knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
But I was prepared the second time with my granddad. I knew it was going to happen that time.
Just looking at the comments, the Little Farmer's Farm. I'm not actually on YouTube. I've got an Instagram account, which will be going across the bottom at some point tonight.
I'll pop it on now. I'll pop it on now for you.
I'm not as good with technical stuff like Dean is.
I'm already prepared this evening. Already prepared. So yeah, Tom's not on YouTube yet. Young lad's got loads, and he hasn't got enough time, man. He's far too busy. But he does do Instagram, and he's got an email address as well, which he's quite happy for me to pop up a little bit later on. If anybody's got any questions, obviously you can ask now, or you can send him an email later on. Now, like I say, just there's a few questions, so we'll have a quick look in the comments, and then we'll progress on, and I'll let you just explain to everybody what sort of things you grow and what it is that you do as well. So that's what we've got here. So went too far. So what's your channel called? Was it post 2 hours? Yep, we've got your own channel, Tom. Yeah, we'll react to that question. Not concerning myself. I do miss anybody's comments.
I like Ollie's comment there. I've literally just put this on. I literally just put this on when you said, I put my hand up this chicken. I'm scared now.
Ollie, that's what I had for tea, mate. Ollie always asks, every time he comes on, what have I had for tea? So as soon as he comes on, I always tell him. I've had chicken, egg, and chicken fried egg and chips. Evening, Craig, evening, Mel, evening, Deadly, evening, Murphy, hello.
And I know that my girlfriend and my mum will probably be watching this downstairs, so thanks for tea. It was lovely.
What did you have for tea, Tom? Tom tea?
Yeah.
Tea, Tom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tony, behave.
Yeah, Terry, I am on Facebook, but I don't really post on the Facebook account. I only set that up so that I could set the Instagram account up. So everything I post, I put on Instagram, just because it's easier. And I know it does go over to Facebook if you set it up, but I just stick with the Instagram because it's easy to just manage one thing. I know Dean's quite technical and he can do about 5 different social medias at once, but I might be one, but my
struggle at times.
Skills are limited.
For those that don't know what Instagram is, Instagram's just like a picture Facebook. You've got to put a picture up and then put a caption underneath and you share that off. I do mine whereas I upload my pictures to Instagram and it goes onto my Facebook page. So that's normally, sometimes I've got to go back into my Facebook page to edit it, because not all the links show up and things when it's provided through Instagram and stuff. But like I say, those that are on know exactly what goes on, and obviously I normally stick to the two big ones, and that's Facebook and YouTube. I have got stuff into Twitter as well at the minute, which, like I say, just trying to link them all at the same time. I have found a website that links all of the social media on one page. So that is something I've already shared on both my Instagram and also Facebook as well. And I've shared it on YouTube. So if you spot it, if you want to have a check, you can have a look on you can have a look on my YouTube and anyways. But yeah, so Tom, what kind of stuff, and like I say, we've had lots of conversations. I've followed you for a while on Facebook. What kind of stuff do you normally grow throughout the year? It's just like your hobby itself, not like professional or anything like that.
Show veg or just anything. What's my favourite grow? Is that the question?
Just in general, just like what kind of stuff do you grow, basically?
I try to grow food to eat alongside growing the show veg, but because you spend so much time turning your attention to the exhibition stuff, it kind of, well, it doesn't die, but it don't come to anything, and then I don't pick it. So I try, and this next year I'm just going to stick to the show veg, I think. I grow all show veg, onions, leeks, potatoes, carrots, beans, everything. But potatoes are a good one for me. I tried really hard this year. Obviously, with there being no shows, we just ended up eating them. Yeah. But I'm hoping next year. I've been mentored by quite a good potato grower who's actually beat Sherry Plum at the Nationals, and he's mentored me this spring. And he said that what I'd grown was absolutely phenomenal. So hopefully next year, I'm going to enter the class at Harrogate, the MVS class, for the 5-day the 5 dishes of 5 potatoes. So it's 25 potatoes of 5 varieties. This year was going to be a year where I was still, because I'm 21, it was going to be a year where I was entering Harrogate as one of the youngest exhibitors in the country, but it just obviously hasn't happened, and we can't do anything about it. So next year will be the year, hopefully.
Fingers crossed how it goes ahead. I mean, it's changed a lot of my plans over the coming year as well. I've got obviously I'm going to be putting a few things in the minimal for entering a show. That's it. Basically, show free, and if I've got anything, I can take it. Because if I didn't have it and the show went ahead, I would feel really guilty, because I would still go to the show, but not having something to take in after feeling the way I did last year. Like I say, you got bitten and you got the bug. I've got the bug as well. Got questions. So my secretary's telling with Tom, we've got questions. Tom's got questions. So what we've got here?
Saboteurs who come and decimate your crops, Tom. In a way, yes, if I didn't spray to prevent it, but I use a lot of chemicals, which some people don't like, but in the show veg world, it's quite a important thing is you're spraying. A lot of people spray when they tend to see a problem, but the best way to deal with any insects or fungicide or anything, fungus or anything like that, is to spray to prevent it. Because I was saying to Dean last night, and because I work in horticulture as well, if you spray a plant when it's suffering from something, it's never going to get back to its full health. So if you spray to prevent it, you're preventing it from getting that illness or that insect that's going to sabotage, as you said there. But yeah, I don't really tend to get much problems with pests because I spray to prevent it all. So
that's well, like I said, I learned that I learned that my second year. I didn't spray. I learned the hard way, but I managed to keep on top of it, because obviously the stuff that I grow, it's a 12-month. It's 12 months in total.
Yeah.
So I now know the stuff that I'm growing, I've started to spray beforehand.
Yeah.
And it'll be different sprays all the way throughout the growing year. So it'll be, like I say, it'll be Dynamic, it'll be Signum, it'll be Kilomite, and it'll be, because even the bugs as well, the bugs and the nasties, they become immune as well, just like we would as obviously human. like I say, prevention is always going to be the best cure. That's the best thing to do. Good evening, Dave. Thanks for coming up late.
A lot of people as well, Dean, that spray think if they just get one type of chemical and they spray it, they think, oh, they've cleared up and they've gone. It don't work like that. You've got to have two. So say you've got an insect problem, you need two different types of insecticide because the insects will become immune to one. But they kind of become immune to a second one if you use the first one for a period of time and then go on to the second one. But if you alternate your sprays, they can never become immune to it, and then that can keep on top of them better.
Yeah.
So your insecticides would be Admire and Dynamec, and then for your fungicides, I use Signum and Amistar.
Yeah.
Or Butler, I think it's called. Right. So, but Andy's put, what's a good potato to grow for show? Well, I've got my book here. So I've got them all written here. I mean, I can actually send you this on Facebook, Andy, if you want me to, the list of what I've got. So I grow Winston, which is a white potato. I grow Nadine and Shireen. They're both white potatoes. And then I grow a Mo, Kestrel, and an old variety called Bluebell, which I know Dean won a competition to win last year, and I was very jealous.
I did, and you know what it is? I got some all right potatoes off them as well, which are basically like seed potatoes for next year. So I'm going to be investing some more 30-litre buckets, and I've got the potatoes. I don't care how small they are; they're going in. I'll just separate them off because obviously I know that JBA, who are now changed their name, I think it's James Brothers. So they had a poor year with it. They only sell a minimum. Well, after I won some, they sell like limited amount. So
very luckily, I clicked on Facebook. I clicked on Facebook, and it said just now, and they just posted that they were selling it, and I'd ordered them within about 5 minutes of them posting it on Facebook, and I think they went within like 2 hours. And I don't know what it's looking like for stock next year because I've not looked yet. But I hope they have it because it's a really old variety and it is a banker for the shows, especially when you're doing multiple class, a class with multiple varieties in.
Yeah.
It makes it up quite well.
Yeah, standout potato. I mean, I was very lucky, obviously winning that competition. And I just, to be honest, I should have taken a bit more care of them. I had just had them in the polytunnel. But I grew them in the 30-litre buckets, and they did, like I say, they did all right. But obviously, I know what to do now better than I did obviously the year before. I've never thought about growing show potatoes, but it was by chance and by luck that I actually did. I had a big leaf, like the things you put the leaves in, the really cheap, they're like washing baskets to just flip up, basically. But I filled that with used compost anyways, and I just put a potato in. It was a Valley Sovereign, I think it was, or something like that. I took it out, and it was absolutely lovely. It was lovely and clean. Didn't even have to wash it. I just brushed it down very lightly, and I took it to one of the local shows, and I come second with it. I was like, "This is crazy."
Yeah,
it's like I did what I did with my rhubarb at Harrogate. I just picked the 3 straightest ones, and I got third.
I'm just looking at the comments. I'm sorry if I missed anything on there. Steve's put, what feed do I use for exhibition veg? As Dean knows, it varies dependent on the crop. Different plants, different veg, they react different to different types of fertilizer depending on their requirements. So for potatoes, it'd be calcified seaweed and Vitax Q4. With foliar feeds of seaweed. Your onions is Osmocote. It varies dependent on the crop you're actually wanting to try and grow.
What's your favourite main crop potato, Tom?
That's a good question because although I grow potatoes for sure, I couldn't actually. I'd have no idea whether the first is main crops. I just stick them in, and I know when they're going to be ready. That's the honest truth. I could say Winston's my favourite because I know that is a main crop, but Winston isn't my favourite. So
obviously, it all depends on what you like for obviously visual.
yeah,
Whether it depends if you're going to show or you're going to go and eat it. Like yourself, myself, I've moved on a little bit more away from growing for the table because I just leave that for my granddad to do in his
yeah.
plot. I focus on a bit more of the show and giant stuff now. Getting garden prepared for that, changing the way it was. That's what I'm still in with at the minute. Just answering a couple of questions here. Thanks, Mr. Jarroman, for your message there. I was a bit stranged out. I don't know what you mean with. So he's put. I'll put it on actually. Do you fancy a trip over to Jarradine? Had an allotment for 14 months now, doing okay, but now looking to put goodness in the soil. Do you mean that you're going to put me in the soil, or you're more than likely wanting to feed the soil itself? Because I'll be honest with you, I didn't want you to chop me up. But listen, I'm all game for coming to visit people, as Craig and everybody else knows as well. So if ever I get a chance to do so, if it's long as it's safe enough to do so and things, if I'm in the area, obviously you can sort something out. I'll pop my email address up, Mr. Jarroman, and you can obviously send me an email if you can. Send us a message through Facebook or any other social media platforms, and we can have a chat on there as well. So what other comments have we got in here?
Ollie's asked how old Tom is and where was it?
How old Tom? He's supposed to say 3 or 4 times.
And where was it based?
Tom's 21 years old.
I'm from York.
You can tell because he misses most of the words out.
No one should know. Potatoes in the ground or in bags?
Do you grow potatoes in the bags or do you grow them in the ground?
I grow them in bags in 100% Irish moss peat.
So do you grow them in actually the bags themselves?
Yeah. I grow them in, put them in the bags in about, well, depends on the weather really. Mid-April to late April. Keep them in a polytunnel for 2 weeks and then just plant the bags out 4 inches deep in rows. And you don't actually tend to get fibrous roots coming out the bottom, so they're looking for water.
Yeah.
But when you buy those bags, they only have 2 holes pierced in the bottom because they're actually designed for growing trees in on a commercial nursery. So I've got a hole puncture and I puncture more holes in it to allow more drainage because otherwise the potatoes will rot.
Yeah. I mean, you got a knife and you just go like all crazy.
No, well, you can do. But me and Allegra did it in the spring. Allegra's my girlfriend who's actually sat downstairs watching me on the telly, which is quite embarrassing.
How do you feel about that, Tom, being on the telly?
I want to say that I was having to tell her to be careful with knife because I said if you stick it in the bottom of the bag too far, you'll be stabbing the seed potato. But she'll come upstairs in a minute and shout at me. So, but no,
please come on the stream. Please come on the stream. Just pop your little head out the side.
Yeah.
Just come on, hi.
Well, I did use a knife, Dean, but next year I'm gonna invest in you can buy an actual hole puncture for puncturing holes in plastic sheeting, and it makes like a perfect hole. So I think that'd be better than just a slit because not much water can get out through a slit.
I found that out. You can punch loads of holes in the bags.
Yeah,
it doesn't do anything. We've got a question here from Tony from Little Farmers Farm. So he states here, Tom, do you do long carrots, and if so, how do you do them? Now
yes.
I know you do long carrots because I've seen the pictures on Facebook.
Yeah. I grow them in 4 foot, 220 litre barrels full of sharp sand on another 2 foot raised bed of sand underneath. I core the holes out with a drain pipe. So you've got your barrel of sand and you put the drain pipe on the top, push it down as far as you can get it to the bottom of the hole, take the sand out, and then I also put the handle of a rake in and spike the soil at the bottom just to get a bit more depth. And then I use a special compost mix, which if you follow me on Instagram or if you look for my email popping up at the bottom and you email me, I'm quite happy to send that across. I fill the holes up with the compost mix, then just throw the seed straight in and cover it with a piece of glass for a couple of weeks. And then, that's pretty much all there is to it, really, because as soon as all the fertilizer and the goodness you need's in that compost, so all I do is water them and then hope for the best, because I quite like growing carrots because you don't know what you're going to get until you pull them out.
Yeah,
Whereas when you're in
Exciting.
exhibition, you can see it, and you know, I love it when you're pulling carrots out and you're pulling them out, and you're like, yeah, this one's a good one, this one's a good one, and you get to about 4 inches from the bottom, and it's got about 5 legs, and you're like, okay, we're eating this one then. It's a bit annoying.
Surprise!
Yeah. And they literally do that as well. The bottoms of them like that. Surprise!
You know, Liz, I've felt that kind of devastation before as well, where you think, oh, this looks all right, this all looks all right. I had it not so much with long veg, but I had it with parsnips and my raised bed, and my raised bed only goes about 1.5 foot up, and I had these cork and parsnips,
Yeah,
and they were really good. They were nice and thick. There was no canker on the top as well, because that's a problem I had with the year before. But I solved that by the parsnip that I grew, which I can't remember what it was, a canker resistant variety. Anyways, it did the job. Anyways, come out lovely. Then I lifted it up, and it went.
Yeah.
Right across the bottom. And I ended up using it like a big phone, and they were really big. I tell you what, they were lovely.
I've never had canker because somebody told me a good way of preventing it is to, what I do is, obviously I fill the barrel up, fill the hole up, but I get a 1 litre pot, cut the bottom off, and then put that on the top, and also fill that with compost. And that allows, when you water into that pot, the water drains away from the top of the actual top of the parsnip, so you don't get that problem. And I've never really had it with that.
I'll have to write these down. I'm learning things here now as well.
So,
it feels like...
So Rob,
oh, have I gone?
Rob from... Are you there, Dean? Dean's gone. So Rob from Leicester's put, do you use Levington's F1 plus S? I think I can tell you actually, because I'll have it on my phone right next to me. I'll just have a look for you. Oops.
Don't end the broadcast. I don't know what to do. There we go. There. Oh, I'm back.
Yeah, working now.
Oh, bit of a panic. I don't know what happened there. Sorry.
We had a question that I've lost. Rob from Leicester asked if I use Levington's F1 plus S. So I'm just actually looking on my phone now to find the mix for the carrots and the parsnips. So if anyone's got a pen and they want to write this down, they can, or if you send me an email, then I'm quite happy to forward it across to you.
Tell you
so
what,
parsnip,
Tom, what I'll do, send it all the more onto obviously my YouTube, a little community post, and I'll just put them in pictures. Even if you just send me a picture as well of the everything, I'll just pop it on and do the Instagram as well. So,
I'm quite happy to share it. Obviously, there's some things I won't tell you because that's where this. Everyone has
secrets. Secrets are coming out.
Well, we'll quite happy to share the contacts. So I'll say it anyway. So the parsnip mix is 75 litres of Levington's F2S, not F1S. It's finely sieved through a 3mm sieve, which is horrendous because it takes forever. 25 litres of sieved topsoil through the same sieve. And I try and use topsoil from somewhere that I know is clean, so my allotment, presumably. 16 ounces of calcified seaweed, 5 ounces of Vitax Q4, 4 ounces of superphosphate, 3 ounces of Nutrimate, and 10 litres of fine vermiculite. And that's all put through a kitchen sieve to get it nice and fine before it goes in the mix. The carrot mix is pretty similar, but if Dean's going to put it on on his YouTube, then I'm sure people will be able to look on there. Or, like I said, just drop me an email. Quite happy to help. But that, going back to the fertilizer question, what fertilizer do I use for growing exhibition veg? Just in that one mix, we've got in one mix there's 1, 2, 3, 4 types of fertilizer. And I think the past it. No, there's more than that. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, four types of fertilizer in one mix of compost.
It's crazy when you start breaking everything down, and each, like you say, we've had this conversation as well. Like I say, each plant, each thing needs certain amount of feed. Some things need more feed than others. Like I know myself, minimalistic. Obviously, carrots don't like too much feed. Unless you want to make them giant, then obviously just feed them because they'll just deform, and that's what you're after. When it comes to things like cabbages and things, they like lots of water. Obviously, to hard up as well. So that's something else I've picked up upon. Obviously, the high nitrogen stuff or the green stuff. Just stuff in general.
While you're talking about high nitrogen, that comes onto that relates well to dahlias actually, because like cabbages, when you're growing giant cabbages or you're growing exhibition cabbages, they're the same plant all through the year. Whereas when you're growing dahlias, in the early stages, sort of July time, they're a bright green plant with no flower on. So a lot of growers feed them just on lawn food because it's high nitrogen, and you want that green growth. Because the more leaf you can get onto that plant in a dahlia, the better the photosynthesis is, and the better it can take in light from the sun. Making better flowers eventually when they start to come out sort of in mid-August going into September. And then I reduce the nitrogen massively because otherwise it just makes the flowers grow really oversized with huge stems.
Yeah, like you say, once it gets to a certain point when it starts to flower, that's when you need to change it to a different feed because you're more so for the flowering stage or the budding stage rather than the leafy stage. And it's kind of the same thing with the likes of obviously leeks and stuff, which we don't want to go to flower. So you can give them a high nitrogen feed because you want to keep them nice and green as well. But like even cabbages, anything greenery, anything that wants to bulk up, anything like that, give it a high nitrogen feed. But obviously, you need to think about what the next steps are, and that's something that I am going to learn in the years to come. Obviously, you doing all this stuff with the horticultural side of things, you're pretty much on top with it already. But like we discussed in the past as well, the all plants will tell you what they need.
Yeah.
If they water too much, they'll show you it's too droopy. If they're getting attacked, they'll show you. They say there's nothing better than a nice, healthy plant.
I've always thought as well, Dean, that plants have effectively their own little diagnostic computer within them, and they have ways of telling you what they need or what they're going to need very quickly if you don't do something about it.
Yeah.
I've seen this through my allotment, and I've seen it through what I do for work, more so. Plants will show you, a simple example would be if a plant's wilting, it wants watering.
Mm-hmm.
If the compost's soaking wet, it's too wet. If a plant's getting spots on it, it's got fungus. If it's got insects on it, it's got an insect problem.
Yeah.
And then there's management considerations to be made there and what to do. And that's the plant's way of showing you what's wrong with it.
Very true. Very true. So let's have a see what else we've got here. Dean, please put all this on your YouTube description, mate. Gold is this land. Well, the best thing is, Tony, it's this video will be on the channel for anybody to rewatch again. You can flick through things and you can pick up anything that's been said. It's fantastic. Deadly, I'm sorry about the camera. I think it was just a case of it lost connection for some reason. It's something new I'm trying. I'm using my phone as the camera for the computer. It's not linked up. It's just doing it through Wi-Fi. So apologies about that. I hope my camera's working all right now.
Mr. German said right next to.
Yes, I did see that. So, Mr. German, yes, like I say, by all means, feel free, drop me a message. We'll have a chat off the channel. Because, like I say, I do like to visit other people's as well, gardens and stuff, as I know Tom does as well. So, like I say, just send me a message. I'm all for meeting up with new people and things. As long as you don't kill me and feed me to the land, I'm fine. Another one, Leslie, tell me, and I'll pop it up. So there we go. How do you handle stem-based wilt at this time of the year?
What plant's that on? Is Little Farmer's Farm Tony Dean?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
What plant's that on, Tony?
Well, we're waiting for Tony to pop his. Robin, totally agree with you. He's wise for his age. He's been growing since he was a young lad, and he's still young. He's, like I said, 21, but he's probably got more years knowledge than a few of the people like myself growing now. I mean, like I say, I've been growing since I was 18. This lad's been growing since he was 4.
Well, I started on my granddad's plot as a kid.
He wasn't. It's always blame the granddads, isn't it, mate? It's always blame the granddads.
And then my next door neighbour, she had a big allotment where actually I have my allotment pretty much opposite her now. And she entered the local show, and that's how I actually got into growing the show stuff. That's going back 10 or 11 years now.
It sounded like it was a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, I've got to that age now where I think, 10 years ago I was 10, and I think it's 10 years passed since then, and I know that it's bad of me to say I feel old, but I do.
So Tony was mentioning about brassicas.
I would probably say, depending on what soil you're on, you're probably going to be looking at a moisture issue, because a lot of fungal problems like stem rot are caused by high humidity, high moisture, excess water. Also, depending if you've sown the plant yourself, it could have been a problem you've picked up in a greenhouse. There used to be a product on the market called chestnut compound, which was absolutely fantastic stuff. You could water your plants with it once, and it would stop any stem rot. Especially on things like cucumbers. Dean's
around, sorry.
Yeah, it's there used to be a product called chestnut compound, which was good for dealing with things like that. There is sprays you can use to prevent stem rot and problems like that. There is a thing called cabbage collars, which they use to stop. I think they're meant to be used to stop club root, but you could try that just to keep some moisture off the stem, around the bottom of the stems of the brassicas. As like a blanket sort of thing. But since they've banned chestnut compound, they have a habit, the botanists and the EU especially, when they ban all these chemicals, they don't give you a substitute. So relating that to what I do for work in commercial horticulture, you're snookered because they ban all these products, but they don't give you an alternative to protect your plants with. So I hope that chestnut. It's chestnut, not chestnut.
It doesn't got a speech impediment. It's chesh. It's not chestnut.
You can't get it anymore. I have actually got 3 tins of it stored away. That somebody I know give me. But
he's the godfather of gardening.
I don't use it. I'm
going to have to take this off. I'm going to have to take the whole thing off and have to leave as a private video. That was good. What I do with my brassicas, I just put little. I've got little like piping bits of pipe, so I don't water around the base. I water around the outside of it, because obviously you think the roots any kind of plant, the roots are want to find the water source. So it's always best to water around the plant rather than at the base itself as well. These cause a lot of problems watering at the base, and I've learned that lesson as well. You can form boitritis, grey molds. You can that was the first problem I ever encountered. Humidity and obviously no lack of ventilation and stuff as well. When it comes to the cabbages, you've got the likes of clubroot, like you mentioned, which I've heard that Pilk is a good thing to try and do. My granddad constantly, and for years now, he's in the same habits every year. He'll mark out where the clubroot is, and he'll just bleach straight in the hole.
Yeah, the best thing the best thing I've known for clubroot, and if you've had white rot on onions, especially if you're growing them to eat,
well, I'm listening.
If you get that problem with white rot and you just pull that onion out, throw it on a compost heap, the spores of that fungus are still in your soil. So that the best thing to do is to water. I've used it and it has worked. Is to water it with Jay's fluid. Literally,
all right.
Yeah, if you take the onion out, when you take the onion out and it leaves that little dimple in the soil.
Yeah.
Fill that little dimple full of Jay's fluid.
Well, you see, I changed the way in which I grew my onions this year, which I don't know if you've seen or not, but I grew mine in 10-litre buckets with the bottoms cut out, just to raise off the soil where I knew I had white rot, because I knew it was contaminated, and like I say, it's 8 years or something you've got to leave it out for. And I've got Monty from My Family Garden is trying something else a little bit different, which I don't know what's going to work or not. What he's doing is he's collecting all the tops off the onions, and tops of the I think it's off the garlic as well. Any of the alliums he's connecting the tops off, and he's actually making like a water, like a feed basically, with all of the obviously from the top of the allium and stuff, and just watering off and hoping that it just gorges itself on all the feed. From the obviously the alliums. Whether or not it's work, he's organic. He doesn't do any chemicals or anything like that. We'll just have to wait and see what happens, basically. But it was quite interesting when I went down. He said, "I'm going to be trying this because I'm willing to try anything." I like the way in which I grew this year with the quality onions, and that was growing them in because you can get a good sized quality onion in a 10-litre bucket. You get a florist bucket, you can get anything else. You get a 20-inch. You can get 20 inches round without even trying. As long as you keep on top of the watering, and obviously after 6 to 8 weeks after planting it in the bucket, feed, because obviously there's nothing else in that plant. There's nothing else in that soil for the plant to go off. So it is very easy, and that's the reason why I've been more prone to growing the exhibition onions, because the hard bit isn't growing them. The hard bit's for me getting them all set up and making sure they're pristine and they don't ping after the drying stages and stuff. So but I grew mine in buckets this year and it did fine.
I'm just looking down now. We've got Kieran Davis on. I've actually been speaking to Kieran on Facebook, and Kieran's actually only 20.
Is that the lad? That's the lad you were telling about before,
yeah.
Oh, Kieran, thanks for coming along.
He's going to try and grow some show veg next year. So anybody on here, other than me and Dean, who grows show veg, give Kieran a message on Facebook, because I'm sure he'd be very happy to hear your advice. But if you've been on a while, Kieran, you'll have just been hearing Dean saying about growing exhibition onions in buckets. I actually did a trial last year and I grew some in, you'll know, Dean, at B&Q to do the buckets, the black buckets for 90p. You know,
I get them from Asda for free. If you go to Morrison's and just ask for them, they'll 9 times out of 10 they give them. Asda, I mean, my mum's really cheeky. She'll literally go up to them as they're putting the flowers in the buckets and go, "Are you using them?"
Me and Allegra steal mushroom trays out the fridges at Tesco's.
You don't have to steal them. You can get them for free from cafes. They just chuck them out.
No.
Just looking around like that.
It's only 2 years.
Get them quick.
It's only 2 years since I've been a teenager, so I'm just bringing out that old flair.
What? Yeah. Take a girlfriend at Tesco's and tell her to steal things. Say that. Steal it. Like it. The amount of things you have to watch what you're doing. You get arrested after this live stream. I'm holding tons of this stuff. Stealing Tesco's.
Why are you in prison? Well, I use chestnut compound on my plants and steal mushroom trays from Tesco's.
What chestnut? So
but yeah, Kieran asked about the exhibition onions. I don't know if there's any big onion growers on here, but I really, really, really disagree with this 35-litre air pot rubbish. It's just,
I agree.
it's
I agree
ridiculous.
with you.
I've
Totally
never
tired.
seen anybody grow anyone grow an exhibition onion in a 35-litre pot and it be fully rooted round. It's a
No,
waste
not
of
an exhibition.
fertilizer, and it's a
Giant
waste
onion,
of compost.
heavy,
Yeah, giant
heavy
onion.
onion. Yes, because that's the reason why I grew mine in a 30-litre pot.
You can quite easily grow a giant onion, an exhibition onion in a 20. I grow them in 15-litre buckets, but I am going to go up a bit next year just for a little bit of a edge on them, maybe a little bit more size on them.
Well, never did it.
But I don't. If you get that compost and fertilizer mix right, it doesn't matter what size pot you grow it in, as long as you water it. And I mean, I think what a lot of people forget is those onions are actually only in them pots for about 3 months.
Yeah.
So, I pot from cell trays into 9 centimeters, 2 litres, and then 5 litres before they go out into the final pots.
You go from 2 to 5.
Yeah.
That's what I'm busy dealing with at the minute this year. I bought 1 litre, I bought 2 litre. I've got the 2 litre, the 3 litre, and the 5 litre. But I got the square. It's a square tops with the circle bottoms.
Yeah.
So I wanted them to be able to have the size, obviously for the size itself, but also be able to side by side.
Yeah.
Buffering. I'm sorry if camera thing goes again. So I bought, they say 2, 3, and 5, but when I went from 2 to 3, it's pointless. There's no point. It's more of a faff on and fiddle trying to pop them up from a 2 to 3. So I've been debating whether to go from a 9 centimetre to 11 centimetre, 2 litre, or to 3 litre, from 11 centimetre to 3 litres and 5 litres. So I want to do 3 to 5.
And I don't agree with this thing with the onions as well. And if Kieran's still listening, this is a good thing. A lot of top growers will tell you, oh, don't pot up too much. Don't, only go from 2 to 3. Don't go from, don't go up to a 5. But what is the point in putting a plant from a 2 to a 3 litre to pot it on in a week's time? Then you've got to take all your stuff off. In commercial horticulture, you would never, ever grow a pot a 2 litre into a 3 litre. They'd laugh at you.
They would. Time and effort, they'll just do thousands.
In my job, you'd go from a 1 litre to a 3 litre. You'd go from 2 to 5, and you wouldn't go 3 to 5. You wouldn't even put a 3 litre in a 5 litre. You'd maybe put 3 in a 10, but if we're going to grow things to pot on, we'd probably grow them in a 2 to put them in a 10. But anyway.
Well, my pot now is 5 litre. I'll go from 5 litre to the 10 litre buckets, because with the buckets, I can just lift it and put it into the ground.
Yeah.
As I say, my onions will grow in the bucket itself. I'm even going to grow some in a bucket this year in the greenhouse, because I want to grow plenty and lots of quality onions. So I've got a lot of stock for the year after. So I'll obviously it's so much simpler to grow them in the bottomless bucket with what I use. It's like obviously kitchen roll on the bottom, because once the kitchen roll, once that thing is away, they'll just go straight into the beds. The roots will go through the kitchen roll straight into the beds, and if they want excess feeding, bang, straight in there. I'll water from the underneath with the soaker hose, and I'll feed from the top. But I won't saturate the top, because obviously you don't want the top to be moist and sodden. And I grew that this way this year, and I went from having 75% of my onions with white rot, even though they look great on the top, they had white rot. I got one onion with white rot.
Yeah.
And it just, what a massive improvement it was. So, like you say, if your soil has got white rot in, try J's fluid. You can also do, like you say, it depends on the grow method as well. But like we're discussing there, Tom, you can grow in a 10 litre pot. I know Ivor Mace grew in 9 litre. He grew in a 9 litre ceramic pot.
Yeah.
And just watered, and he grew 20, 22, 23 inch round, which 22 is ideal lifting for 21 to 22 is ideal lifting for me.
Yeah.
Don't want them too big, any bigger than that, because you're close to pinging, from what I understand. And that's when the skin dries out, and it dries out too quickly, and it can ping. It squeezes too tight, and it's like a skin breaking. If your skin shrinks too quick, it'll break. It's exactly the same as an onion because
Yeah.
onions have got skins. They've got
I mean,
layers.
a lot of people will tell you as well that when you grow in quality onions, leeks, anything like that in pots, that you've got to water from beneath, like in the saucers and things like that. But your problem is that process of watering is called capillary action. So that's the process of the water being transported through the roots of the plant and up into the crown or the hub of the plant at the top, if you like. But for that process to happen, the water has to have gone that way first. So you have to water from the top. And I've heard so many stories of people where their leeks and onions have died because of what and it's lack of water. And if they've only put the water in the bottom, that capillary action process can't start unless you've already watered from the top. But if you're going to water from the top, as long as you water away, say that's your onion, as long as you water, around the edge of the onion and don't get any water around the crown or around the stem, you'd be fine.
You've got to think, like you say, you've got to think of the roots as being like, obviously fingers, roots. Yeah, they're trying to reach the water and they're stretching out every time they get a bit of moisture. They'll reach out a bit more, and they'll reach out a bit more. Than if the roots are there and you're watering here, they're never going to be able to find that water to begin with, and that's the reason as to why whenever you plant on, no matter what, always put a little bit of water on the top, water from the top, so that they can fill the pot. Then once the roots will start searching themselves, like you see underneath the pots when they're coming out of the bottom of the pots, because then they're telling you they're ready to be moved on. But like you say, a lot of people will water around too far away, and they'll just kill the plants because the plant's not getting anything.
No. The thing is, you've got to think as well, especially when you do your final potting, how far have them roots travelled away from the crown of the root crown. You know, if you could say you do grow them in a 35-litre pot, and they've only travelled 3 inches away from the crown of the plant, if you water the edge of the pot, you're not gonna get any water on the roots. So it's
and like you say, if you're trying to grow an exhibition onion, you don't want them in 35-litre pots.
No.
Pots. I found with the heavy onions that I grew last year, and I got them to 26, 27 inches round, 28 inches round. I emptied because I've got 40-litre air pots, but I just put 30 litres of compost in.
Yeah.
I took them out, and as soon as you take them out, you can tell straight away. As soon as you open them pots up, the soil, the compost just falls out. Well, that beats the whole point in the air pots themselves, because the roots need to be going and air pruning on the outside to create more roots. So it doesn't work unless you've got the roots, obviously, that size. You need a big plant. Like I say, the 30 litres, 40-litre air pots and things, they're designed for trees and stuff like that. They're not designed for likes of onions and stuff. But I think the maximum size would be 20.
Yeah.
For me, 20 litres. Unless you know you've got something big, then put it into a 30.
Yeah.
Nothing bigger than a 30.
The thing is as well with I'm just trying to think now. With the 30-litre pots you were saying about, Dean, the more compost you have around a plant, the more water it holds around that plant. So going back to the problem with the root rot and the crown rot and the pink rot, which I know you had last year, more water you have around that plant, the more chance it is of getting fungus. So if you can grow it in a smaller pot but have the same effect on it, then why not?
Exactly. I mean, I like I said, I know exactly where my pink rot come from last year. Obviously, it was a mixture of fungus gnats, the ventilation, the moisture, the dampness in the soil, and things like that as well. And a lot of lessons learned last year, which I'll be taking this year as well. Right, we've got a few.
Let's look at these questions now.
Tom, what's on the t-shirt, Tom?
Oh, I don't know. I honestly don't know. There you go. It's a word.
Escape to the city. Wherever we go, there. That's it.
Escape the city. Hit the beach. Well, if it said allotment, that would probably be better.
That would probably tie in better, wouldn't it? So, Sam, welcome. Welcome, Dave's allotment. Gordon coming in. Hello. Thanks very much for calling in, Dave, mate. What else have we got here? I know Jeremy asked another question there. Serious question here. Some of the major seed providers supply seeds per 1,000, whilst others provide 20 or 50, etc. of the same plant. Any views on this? Well, like I say, it all depends on the massive bulk amount that you want, and it depends on the seeds as well. Like you get sweet peas you get in packets of 20. Whereas if they got a smaller seed like petunias and stuff like that, they're never going to sit there and count all of them. It goes off the weight. So it all depends on the plant that you get. For me, it just depends really.
I always
Don't
find
ever buy anything off eBay. Don't buy seeds off eBay. Don't buy seeds off Amazon. Do not do it. Go to one of the proper seed manufacturers. A lot of people have got their favourites. For me, with me quality in the giant veg, I go to the growers direct. Or at least I go to people. I speak to people. I get the stuff from the people who know and grow. And you can see, that's the reason why I went to shows, to see who's what and who's where. You get certain names, you get certain people, you get in chat with them. Great, fantastic. The more the people you need to speak to.
Yeah. There's some big names in veg that you could easily mention. Onions and leeks for me is Peter Holden, and nobody gets anywhere near him.
Look, Peter, he's a fantastic bloke.
Yeah.
He's a bit like Marmite with some people, but I love him, mate. The first thing he always says to me when he sees us is, "Hey, Dean's lost the plot." He introduces like that as well, though. He's a lovely bloke to speak to.
Yeah,
and, provided me with some onions as well last year, which, to be honest, I didn't do very well with. But that's my fault, not his.
I don't know if Kieran's still on here, Kieran Davis. But if you've got any more questions, ask, because Dean knows just as much as I do. So just ask away. And
I just know from personal experience. Please feel free to. You can drop us a message anytime. I'm on Facebook. Send us a message on Facebook, like the Facebook page. Tom will sure I'll tell you what's what. I did a video, how to grow giant onions. That's from my own personal videos from the past year. Me growing seed, saving seed, starting them off again, growing all the way through, what days I put them out, and what I ended up with. Have a look on there. Like I say, it's quite handy because I still use all of my videos. This is what I started this channel for. It was for me, for my own diary. Tom likes to write his stuff down in books. I like to do mine via video because I can look back and say, "Oh yeah, did that? That's great. That's fantastic."
This is my Bible. Everything that I've ever been taught, or any things that I've tried that I probably wouldn't tell anybody else, goes in this book. And it's just I can't. I'm still trying to get used to this, Dean. Where if I look left,
you see, I don't have that problem at the minute. Because I managed to sort my phone out, because my phone, I've got a mirror image app on it. But
there, look, I'll just write everything down, and as soon as it goes in that book, it goes in my head as well.
Right, so if you watch this back, it's 1 hour, 2 minutes, 48 seconds. Screenshot.
Yeah, everything in. I could put everything in there. All the dahlias that I grow, what I thought to the potatoes. If anybody's got 10 grand, this book's just there for you.
Mass producing it, isn't he? I'll help you out with that. Tony, thank you very much for coming along, mate. Thanks for your questions and things as well. It's lovely having you. Take care. Good night. I can see Tony's left the building. Little Farmer's Farm.
Just Robin Shaw. My Instagram's going across the bottom of the screen now.
Yeah, I don't know how you've missed it, Robin. What's done?
Leeks were planted in April, really close together. They have rust on. Can we still eat them? And can we still eat them?
You can still eat leeks with rust on. All you do is chop the leaves off. You don't eat the leaves of the leek. You eat the barrel of the leek. So don't worry about rust. Rust happens. It's a nightmare for exhibition growers, but for the standard gardener and standard grower, don't worry about it at all. Just chop it off, stick it in the pan.
I got some leeks off a grower last year who I won't name any names, but it was a big grower. And he gave me some leeks with rust on, knowing what he was giving me. I took them home, put them in my greenhouse, and if Allegra's still watching this, she'll know fine well who I'm talking about. I put them in my greenhouse, and it started a little bit, and I thought nothing of it, so I sprayed them with Signum, and this winter I've had to absolutely gut my greenhouse because of how much people don't understand how much these fungal problems can cause for exhibition growers. And I think I think a lot of people don't understand as well that, you know, one onion can make you quite a lot of money in the spring if you're prepared to sell the heads off it. And
I mean, if you think it's what's £20 for a dozen,
something like that, yeah. If
£20
not more,
a dozen standard rate going, £20 a dozen,
more.
and you get hundreds. You can get hundreds of seed off an onion head, and you can get hundreds of grass off one plant. It's big. It's big money. It's big money.
What's my favourite type of dahlia for showing? Giant type. Good question. I'll refer to my book for that question, I think.
While he's referring his book, let's have a look. Oh gosh, forgot. Yes, good evening. Tom's away. Tom's away, not Tom. Tony. Rob, yeah, you will get fed up with rust on garlic and leeks. Garlics are, like I say, alliums, all prone to it. The one thing that I've been advised to use is bumper. So bumper's a good spray to have on, but obviously it's all right for garlic and things because you're going to be eating the bulbs themselves, not the top. But if you want to try and prevent garlic, look for bumper. It's a spray. It's what is it? 1 ml to 10 liters. I think.
What for bumper?
What's bumper? Is it what's the mix ratio for bumper? Is it not 10%, or is it?
I think it could. No, 10% would be 1 ml to 10 milliliters, would it not?
No.
It's 1. I think it's 1%. I think it's 1 ml to 10 liters of water.
Because I think it's around about the same sort of thing with the dynamite and stuff as well. The same sort of thing.
It is. I've actually got the bottles in but they're downstairs. They're in the gap outside.
Don't worry. I'm sure it's what we'll go with 1 ml to 10 liters. When it comes to disinfecting the leak heads, it's 5 ml of domestos to 10 liters of water.
Yeah,
that's what I've been told. So it just depends on the things that you've got.
So for the daily question, I grow for giant. Well, I don't really grow large and giants because I try and concentrate on the smaller ones because I like entering the multiple vase classes rather than the because a lot of shows the giant blooms they just do one bloom, and for me that's not putting on a show. Just putting one bloom in a show. If you're going to do dahlias, I'd rather grow 5 or 6 to put in one vase. I mean, at the Nationals, you've got to put 9 ponds in one vase. But the ones that I do grow are Rose Jupiter and Coral Jupiter, which are both large giant semi-cactus. Can't fault them as a show variety. I mean, there is lots of other giant dahlias that are good for garden use, but as show varieties, they're probably my 2.
And when you say giant, when Dave and Tom are saying giant, they're not lying. These things are bigger than your head. If you have a look at my videos from Harrogate last year, Dean's Lost the Plot Harrogate on YouTube, you can take a look in the flower section, and it is just awe-inspiring looking at the size of these because they're perfect. You've got to keep an eye. When it comes to flowers, Tom will agree as well. It's not just what they look at the front; it's what they look at the back as well, because you've got to keep an eye on the dead petals. You need to make sure that they're open fully all the way. You get points knocked off if they're not fully open. And if you look at the flower and you think, oh, that's fully open, if you look at the back and still see it's still got bud as well, that's no good. Not quite ready yet.
There's a trick to that though. A few hours. Well, when you stage your giant, obviously, if you can say that's the back of the flower and you can see that green center in the middle of it, if you just pluck a few petals out from around it at the back, the flower actually in a fashion starts to go backwards, so it starts to close up. It loses a bit of shape, but it covers that green calyx at the back of the flower, and that's what judges look for. Similar with on the other end of the spectrum, you've got poms which only grow absolutely tiny. When they're in bud, you've got to take the calyx off around the flower, otherwise the flower don't form fully. So it's same with them all, apart from, well, for poms and giants. I mean, that's what's so interesting about it, because they're so far from each other size-wise, but it's still the same.
Tiny little things, then you got massive things. It's nuts, but like I said, visually, it's absolutely spectacular when you see them all
Yeah.
put on. And one flower which I think you've got to have a lot of time for, even more so time for the dahlia. It's obviously the chrysanthemum as well, because not only have you just got to wait. If you think the preparation for them, you've got to pluck every single flower, every single leaf out. You've got to have the right ways, stuff like that as well. I mean, I don't know when it comes to flowers because I've never showed flowers, but I can imagine the time and effort that goes into them just puts me off.
If anyone on there grows exhibition chrysanthemums, I'm sorry, but I do feel sorry for you. I hate them. I absolutely really don't like them whatsoever. They're I don't know what it is about them. It's just they grow one big long stem, and you have to get the steps to, and then you get that one little flower at the top. I don't know.
Everybody's got obviously everybody's got their own opinions on the matters and things like that. I mean, I love the mini mums that I've got.
Yeah,
I really do enjoy them, and I think they look absolutely fantastic. I remember I gave something to my mum's next door neighbour last year, and they planted them out in the front garden, and they put 2 in the front garden, and they've had the rest of the flowers as well. Well, it's coming to the flowering time now. It's the only thing that's flowering in their front garden, and they're over the moon with it as well. It's look fantastic. Mr. Jerryman, like I say, just send us an email, or send us a message on Facebook, or send us a message anywhere else, and we'll have a chat outside of here as well. So what else have we got here? We've got anything else on here? So when it comes to Ailsa, Craig, or Kelsey, or anything like that, when it comes to buying the seeds from, like I say, seed manufacturers, like I say, don't do it. Just get them from the growers themselves. The seed manufacturers are fantastic. You will get a good size onion, but it's best to get them from the people that's actually grown them.
This is a thing, like Dean says, if you're going to grow the show veg, it's better to speak to the people that have been doing it for years. I mean, I've made quite a lot of friends just in the last, just by joining. If you're going to do it, one of the best places to network with people is on Facebook. There's about 3 or 4 groups on Facebook that people are in.
There is.
And some of the people on there, there's top growers on there.
And this is how I met a lot of people. So myself, it's but one of the benefits as well is once you speak to them all year round, you meet up with them at Harrogate, you meet up with them at Malvern, you meet up with them where they're show. Well, they come up to you. I mean, I'm quite lucky. I've got the World Leaking Onion Championships on my front door. I've got the growers coming to my front door, which I was lucky enough to do so and speak to the guys. This past years because I went to that show, but even just like I say, just popping down to Harrogate and things. A lot of the top growers come up from there as well. Come from Guernsey and all over the shop, and it's fantastic to see and meet them. And everybody that I've spoken to was lovely. There is some bickering on and stuff like that, but obviously just let them get on. There's 98% fantastic people who will speak to you and tell you anything, and that's the way it should be.
That's the thing I've learned just in a short period of time, that if you give people a lot of help, like I tried to help Kieran out because he approached me and said, well, actually, I saw his post on Facebook saying that he was only 20. And I mean, you'll know John Sosby, Dean. He got in touch with Kieran, and I think he's got in with John, which will be a good person to get in with.
Oh, definitely. I've seen that John mentioned it yourself. Wish you lived a bit closer. I've never been to John's. Yeah. I know John, spoke to him several times over. Follow him on YouTube as well. He's in Gateshead. Like I say, when the time comes, I love to pop over and see his setup because he's got fantastic setup. Like I say, he's a big commercial. He used to be a big commercial grower as well. He still is. I mean, he sells thousands of plants, and even if you look on his YouTube, just his greenhouses alone are fantastic. Yeah, never going to compete with anything like that. If obviously for the size wise and the amount of quality and stuff, the amount of stock and stuff, that's the reason why I've started focusing on just smaller stuff as well.
You see, I was having a discussion with a friend of mine at the weekend. I was up at a friend's lifting dahlias with him on Sunday, and he made a good point where he said and this was based on dahlia grows, but it goes for all the grows. You're not competing when there's lads that grow 8,000 or 9,000 dahlia plants, and they'll have 250 of one variety, and then they'll post on Facebook, I hope I can get a set this weekend. You've got 250 plants.
You hope to get one.
And they win. To me, that's not winning. My mate grows 300 dahlia plants a year, and he's won at the Nationals, and he's won at Harrogate, and he's won a lot of the big dahlia shows. The North of England Dahlia Society, he's won there. He's now a judge. And, you know, he has a small allotment up at Kirby Moorside, and he has a little plot at home. And that, to me, is growing for showing. If you're going to grow 8,000 plants a year, that's not growing for showing.
Yeah. Do it small, little, and often. You put all the love and everything into that little section there.
Yeah.
It means a lot more than spending. I mean, it comes into what I was saying yesterday to yourself. When it starts becoming a chore, the enjoyment goes out of it.
Yeah.
And if you think the amount of stuff that you're doing, have you got a dead heading to do on 600 plants? That could take you hours per every couple of days. It's absolutely no. I couldn't do it. I'm quite happy leaving my dahlias in, just let them for flowers, because it still looks lovely at the end of the day as well. But let's see, I haven't got the patience for it. I could grow an onion for 12 months, but I don't have the patience. So at the minute, I don't have I would have to focus on that one thing, whereas I would end up getting upset because I've got stuff that I could do as well at the same time.
Yeah.
As much as as many classes as I can, but that's not the way to do it. Do it a little bit.
You see what I like about it at my head, and what I like in my head. What I like at my age, but without sounding big-headed, is the pride that the enjoyment that people get out of seeing somebody young growing quality veg, quality dahlias. I won a big local show, the best in flower section at one of the big local shows last year.
That's one I didn't go to.
And you know, a lot of people were like absolutely flabbergasted when they called my name out, and I walked forward. They were like, "Oh,
who's this? Who's this kid? He must be picking up for his dad."
He's collecting the trophy on behalf of someone. I was like, "Yeah." And oh, who? I went, "Well, you're looking at him." They were like, "Oh." But what I absolutely loved about it, and if Allegra's still watching this, she'll say the same. There's a lad near us, and all he does is go around the little local village shows and takes all the trophies off all the, you know, you get in there's odd people putting set of runner beans, and he comes with his big beans, but he won't have competed at the nationals because he's not got that edge to go to the bigger shows. And
Leslie. People bringing the onions and stuff in, then there's me carrying the big ones in.
That's the best bit.
They bring the marrows in, and there's me carrying it with two people. Sorry, can you just clear the table for us? Because I need to put my giant marrow on.
I remember I was 13 and I grew a giant pumpkin, and we took it to the local show, and he went, it's all right, lad. You get your, because my next door neighbour took it down for me, and he said, you get your neighbour to back their car up and we'll carry it in and put it on the table. I went, okay. I said, 1, we're not going to be able to carry it. I said, 2, if you put it on the table, it'll collapse. It won't. When we opened the back of the car, he just sort of went, oh, well, that's us out of this competition then. I'm a bit hated at the local allotments because I was only about 13, and I won quite a lot of big classes.
This kid coming in. Tom, are you going to be at Southport next year?
No. Yes, I will be at Southport next year. 100%.
He's going to have his own stand and everything. He's going to have his own stand.
Yeah, that was one down for this year, especially for dahlias, because there's not going to say too much. They won't be watching this video, but I've got some friends that go to our local MVS meetings, and she goes over to Southport and shows dahlias, and her husband goes over and shows veg. And I'm not going to tell them I'm going. I'm just going to rock up, set my flowers up, set my veg up, and then go and stay in a hotel somewhere and go the next morning. And I'm hoping that I win some classes that they're in and just be like, yeah, you didn't expect me to be turning up here, did you? Because that's a big one for them. But Southport is one I've had on the cards for a couple of years. And this year I had the confidence to enter. Obviously with COVID, didn't happen. So next year, Southport. Next year I'm going to Dundee at the Dundee Flower and Food Festival. Harrogate, Malvern, Southport, North of England Dahlia Society Show, and what's the other big one? And I might go to the National Dahlia Show at Wisley, if Allegra will let me go.
Please. No, but like I said, when it comes, I mean, next year at Harrogate, you're gonna have to come along, and whoever will get a chance to, depending on obviously what's going on. It's a lads' weekend, so sorry, Allegra, you can't come to Harrogate. It's keep me quiet on that one. I like that.
Well, no, because what's sad about that is it's we usually go, so I'll be doing 2 trips by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
But my old employer has a veg stand there, so I get free tickets, so it won't be a problem.
I just grow stuff to get free tickets for the day. Unless they change it, like, I never know. Don't know what's going on with it, but because like I say, they changed to Harrogate that the exhibitors only get 1 day, and obviously Harrogate is a 3-day show, which I don't know why it's a 3-day show. You'd think that the likes of Malvern, which is 10 times bigger, would be a 3-day show, but it's not. It's a 2-day show.
Yeah.
Realistically, they shouldn't be swapping them around. When it comes to Harrogate, I'm done in a day, me. I can have a look around Harrogate twice in 6 hours.
Yeah.
And that's not rushing around. That's literally having a good look as well and doing a bit of video recording.
The only problem with Harrogate is I know the director of the show, Nick Smith, and it's the same every year. It's the repetitive same thing every year with Harrogate. You know, last year, it was very, I don't know, it just seemed very ghost towny. There weren't much there. Obviously, the veg was there, but outside, it's usually packed full of stands. And it just seemed.
To be honest, we were carrying Dean Roberts around because he'd had a skinful the night before, so there was a few of them had crown and everything. It was Dave will remember. He didn't sleep much, anyways. It's it next. So it's going to be totally different when it comes to this year. Is it we're expecting next year? Is we're expecting this year? Is it's not been held in Ripon at New Hall, which they say it's a new kettle of fish, so to speak. I want to do a bit of research about where to go, where to stop, and stuff like that as well. Because obviously, it's not just a case of stopping in the town centre or anything like that.
Mm.
It's on the outskirts, but it's actually closer for me as well. It's only 40 minutes away, so it's not that far from where I am. I don't think. I mean, I don't know how far is it. How far is Ripon away from yourself?
From me, 20 minutes.
Envy. It's like I hate the people who live in Malvern as well. It takes me 5.5 hours to get there. As long as I don't take the wrong road.
Yeah, not far at all, Dean. Really.
That's why I got the trailer, matey. Let's see what happens.
But I'm hoping to get to Malvern next year. It's one of the only shows that I haven't been to as a punter, not as an exhibitor.
You need the whole weekend. You need the whole weekend. You can't even see the entire Malvern in the whole weekend.
No.
We went. Me and Leslie went for the first time, and on the Saturday we went back to the hotel room. Sorry, on the Friday we went back to the hotel room. We fell asleep.
Yeah.
We fell asleep, then we went back out again the night time.
But I will say to anybody that are wanting to grow show veg while we're on about it, you've got to be dedicated to it. It's sort of a full-time job on top of your full-time job you're probably already doing at work.
It is
a lot, very, very consuming. and the plants. If you have one stunt in not caring for them plants, you're not gonna do any good at the shows. And it's as simple as that. And I always laid that out when I started growing. If you're not willing to put the effort in, and you only want to do it for 3 months, then don't bother doing it at all, because you're not going to get anywhere and you'll be disappointed. And I think that's a very important thing that I was told, because it makes you feel motivated to get out there and actually do it. And then, I think, Dean, you'll think the same when you walk into that hall at a show and you've won some first, and the adrenaline I get when I walk through them doors.
Well, I don't know. I'm not getting first yet. I mean, I walked in Harrogate and I got a 4th place, and I nearly jumped up the ceiling. My cabbage, couldn't believe that. I wasn't expecting that, because I set myself targets, as I'm sure you do as well. My target for the first year, obviously by going to the year before, what I did was I went and visited the shows first, so I knew what I was kind of expecting, because that's just the person I am. Once I've done it once, I'm fine. The first time, very nervous, don't know what's going on, what's happening. I like to know what I'm doing, I'm going. But the second year, when I walked in and put all my stuff on the table and everything as well, when I went back the next day and I had a look around and I seen that my cabbage are getting 4th at Harrogate, I was absolutely over the moon. But the worst thing was, I knew I had a bigger one at home, because that was dedicated for Malvern. But then, obviously, like I said earlier on, the 3 sticks of rhubarb, and I had entered lots of different things, in different different categories and stuff. Didn't come anywhere near. I didn't embarrass myself. Didn't come last. But the main thing was not getting disqualified. Not like as per schedule and stuff like that. Not NASDA or anything like that. Not a schedule. But to get a place card was an absolute bonus. Then to get 2 was even better, and it was even funnier, because, like I say, I'd originally had the rhubarb was supposed to be for the giant rhubarb. I'd just put in the little, like, just standard rhubarb stand for quality. Just if I had anything, I'll just grab it. But the my allotment neighbour, who I've got the allotment with, went 3 days before the show and took 3 of the biggest rhubarbs stalks, were like that, took them and had a rhubarb crumble. So I was foaming, because I'd actually put a mark on, don't take these ones away. And I just went that when I picked everything up, I just picked the 3. I didn't even know what I was looking for. Picked the 3 straightest rhubarb sticks up. Oh yeah, they look alike. Take them away. Come third behind Peter. I think what was it? Peter Glazebrook was second. I was like, hey, that's an achievement for me out of 14 stands. Yeah. I come third at Harrogate. That's something I was very proud of first time round.
See, that's a thing that I see a lot of at the local shows. You see, you always get a couple of good growers at every local show, and you'll get the people that put entries in classes that nobody else is going to enter just to get their points up, and then they'll go, "Oh, I got first, second, and third in that class." Like, well, yeah, obviously, because you were the only person that entered.
That's the same at Harrogate as well, though. When I noticed that Harrogate is like in the quality sections, if you'd taken 2 turnips, you'd have won first.
Yeah.
But nobody can take that away from you, because, like, as I say, you've got to be in it to win it.
Yeah.
That's why one of the lads, Gary Cooper, Geordie Giant Veg, he purposely took a pumpkin, and the pumpkin was that big. It was that big. That was it. That's the size of it. And he put it down. Everybody laughed, but the sense was there. If there was only 4 pumpkins there, that pumpkin would have gotten 4th place at Harrogate Show.
Yeah.
Just to prove a point. That's the only reason it did it. I mean, it was a good laugh, but there was sense behind it as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. So, but I don't know if there's anybody else putting in more questions up.
I don't think it is. Tom, I think what we're going to have to do, mate, because, like I say, we haven't even discussed some of the stuff that we're going to discuss. I think you've muted yourself as well, by the way.
Sorry, I have muted it. Sorry.
I think we're going to have to wrap this up here, and we'll have to do a part 2. There's been lots and lots of things on here, which I'm sure, like I say, a lot of people have been interested in. So I think it leads off quite well to further discussions where we can discuss things like Andy Dawson's got that diesel heater, which we're going to discuss. I've got links on here and stuff, which I'm going to show people on my video this week as well. I look forward to seeing Andy's posts going forward as well on Facebook. But I think it's a great point now just to start wrapping things up. So I want to thank you very much for coming on tonight, Tom. I'm pleased that everything worked out here as well.
Yeah.
Because I had a few teething issues last night, but I'm pleased it all worked out. And like I say, we know it works for next time. And say thank you very much for coming along. And we might even do this in 2 weeks' time again. So if it looks like people have enjoyed it, so we'll see if we can do it again, possibly next time or the time after. But
if anyone wants anything, just either follow me on Instagram or drop me an email. Quite happy to help out.
So I'll get, like I say, Tom's Instagram's on the bottom there. Just search for Tom's Exhibition Allotment on Instagram and also on Facebook as well. And if you want to send an email to Tom, just there's his email address there. Just pop him an email over. Or if you've got any questions for me, I can get you in touch with him as well. So like I say, can't thank you enough, Tom. Thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on tonight. Thanks for coming on the video. And hi to Allegra as well. Look, he's on the telly. Is on that side?
Right in front of me. But she won't show herself. So, don't show me.
Right, well, like I say, I'll take you off now, Tom. And like I say, very much.
Right, cheers, Dean, and thanks for everyone to come on.
I'll speak to you soon.
See you later.
Well, there we go. Thank you very much, Tom, for coming along this evening. So I'm going to wrap up tonight now as well. It's been a long show. Like I say, we're on an hour and a half. I wasn't expecting to be on this long. We'll do a follow-up with Tom again in a couple of weeks' time. Pencil that in, and I'll give you lots of pre-warning as well. But if you're interested in coming on, and we'll do a few of these kind of videos as well, it's an absolute pleasure to speak to you guys as well, and it's the reason why I started doing the lives as well, to get yourselves more involved. Well, here's your opportunity and here's your chance. If you want to come on, don't hesitate. Like I say, just drop us an email, and like I say, it'll not just be a case of getting you on like that on the night time. We'll have a few conversations. We'll make sure that everything's set up. I'll help you get set up with what you need as well. It's very straightforward. You can do it from a phone. I can do it from my phone as well. But yeah, if you sorry, I'm just reading through here. Everybody saying good night. Yeah, I'm going to say good night. If you've got any messages, please don't hesitate. Let us know. Like I say, I hope everybody's taking Tom's email address there. I'm going to take it off now. I will see you this coming weekend on Sunday, as I will have a video up as I normally do, and I should have a few more bits and pieces done tomorrow on my second day off as well. So don't forget, please do like this video and please do subscribe as well, and I shall see you all on Sunday evening for the premiere. So thanks again for coming along. Take care. On your way out, stick us a thumbs up on that like button. Thank you very much. Take care, and please good night and stay safe and watch what you're doing.